Welcome, bienvenidos, benvindu, to the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show, part of the SDH network, the only English-language show devoted to South America's premier club competition. I'm your host, Howard Hamilton, the founder of Soccermetrics. I love semifinal rounds of tournaments. Yeah, everyone wants to win the competition, but getting to the final is a major accomplishment, and every participant is putting in their maximum effort to get there. For Flamengo, Liga de Quito, Palmeiras, and Racing Club, the prospect of a Libertadores final has become real. They are one match away from fulfilling their objective that they set at the start of the year, and they're all seeking something extra to give themselves one more match. In this episode, I'll preview the second legs of the Copa Libertadores semifinals. Who will advance to the final in Lima at the end of November? And yes, the final of the Copa Libertadores will be in Lima. CONMEBOL opened up a registration window for fans of the four semifinalists so that they will be made aware of ticket sales for supporters of the finalists. The window is open until midnight on October 30th, and is available at CONMEBOL's official ticket distributor. And you can find your website at libertadores.11tickets.com. There was concern that the final would be moved from Lima due to political protests there. The previous president of the country was impeached and removed from office. A new president was installed, and there's been a state of emergency put into place in the capital. There were alternatives mentioned such as Brasilia and Asunción and Buenos Aires, but in reality, the final venue was never in doubt. And now let's go on to previewing the two Copa Libertadores semifinals. Starting with the first semifinal between Racing Club and Flamengo. And this semifinal will be played in Avellaneda on the 29th of October. Flamengo come into this tie, leading 1-0 from the first leg. Racing Club come into this match relatively fresh. There were no matches played in Argentina last weekend because of congressional elections in the country. Racing Club are 9th in the Clausura Tournament's Group A with 3 matches to go. They do have one injury concern going into this match, and it's a big one. Santiago Sosa suffered a broken jaw when Marcos Rojo accidentally elbowed him, and he'll be out for the remainder of the year. So Gustavo Costas has a task to settle. He has a dilemma to resolve, where to place players, and particularly in the middle, and especially in this libero position where Sosa stood out so well. The conversation circling around the Racing Club camp was to place Juan Ignacio Nardoni in the middle, and then decide on a 2 libero set between 3 players: Bruno Ciccolini, Nazareno Colombo, and Marco Di Cesare. The right wing of the field has a separate dilemma, where to place Gaston Martirena or Facundo Mura. Mura, recently recovered from injury, has more of a defensive role to play, has more defensive capabilities than Martirena. So we have these dilemmas in 3 areas of the pitch for Racing Club. Flamengo, for their part, are coming into this match after a 1-0 defeat away to Fortaleza. That knocked them out of the lead position in the Campeonato Brasileiro. They're 1 point back of Palmeiras with 8 matches to play. What was interesting for Flamengo was that they played that match with almost all of their starters. Flamengo have been in Buenos Aires for the last few days. They actually trained at Defensa y Justicia's new Champions of the World Training Center, which opened a couple of years ago. They're coming into this match with some injury concerns as well, and they have a very significant injury. Pedro suffered a broken arm in last week's match, He'll be out for the remainder of the year. And it's likely that either Bruno Henrique or Gonzalo Plata will replace him up front. They are also seeing the return of Leo Ortiz. Leo Ortiz returning from an injury. So the two Leo tandem in center back will return. Felipe Luis, manager of Flamengo, has said that this is the most important match of the year. He went on to say, quote, "We all want to be in Lima, and that's all that we're focused on." Racing Club is going to have a tall order to overcome a 1-goal deficit against the Brazilian side, especially if they want to avoid a penalty kick shootout. Flamengo have only lost one match in all of 2025 over all competitions by 2 goals, and that was a match against Bayern Munich in the Club World Cup. They lost that match 4-2. Over the 64 matches that Flamengo have played across all competitions, they've allowed 2 goals only 2 times. And in 2 of those matches, they actually went on to win the match. For Racing Club, this match is without any doubt the biggest match of the 21st century for them. Racing Club have not appeared in the Copa Libertadores final since 1967. This is in fact a club that was in danger of disappearing altogether in 1998. In 2001, they won a league championship in Argentina for the first time in over 30 years. This is a club that experiences all of the emotions if you are a fan of that team. This is going to be an emotional night in Avellaneda, no matter which way the outcome goes. Racing will seek to overturn the 1-goal deficit, which they have achieved multiple times over the last few years. One time in the Copa Sudamericana last year, another time this season in the Libertadores versus Peñarol. But they are going to look to score multiple goals on Flamengo, if only to avoid a penalty kick shootout against arguably the best goalkeeper on the continent in Agustín Rossi. But to be fair, Racing Club have a goalkeeper who's very, very good in Facundo Cambeses. So it's going to be a very compelling, very emotional, very dramatic semifinal tie, no matter what the final outcome will be. And now turning to the second Copa Libertadores semifinal between Palmeiras and Liga de Quito. This match will be played in Sao Paulo on the 30th of October. Liga de Quito hold a 3-0 advantage after that sensational first leg victory in Quito. Palmeiras drew at home, a goalless draw to Cruzeiro. They're still first in the Brasileirão by virtue of Flamengo's defeat in league competition on the weekend. This was also a match in which Palmeiras were playing their starters. Joaquin Piqueres is back. He had some injury concerns, but it looks like he's going to be available for selection on Thursday night. Aníbal Romero was also a doubt due to injury, but he is likely to play. Palmeiras' problem are less a matter of the personnel on the field than the tactics that they have displayed over the last 3 matches. And their tactics have been characterized by playing direct, by launching crosses, really play that has neutralized their midfield. In the first leg match versus Liga de Quito, only Andres Pereira was their only effective player in the midfield. And they're also lacking efficiency in front of goal at the worst possible time. This is a Palmeiras side that has scored the most goals in Copa Libertadores. They've scored goals at an extremely high conversion rate. Their defense has allowed a very low percentage of shots into goals. And Vitor Roque and especially Jose Lopez have been the key contributors in goal scoring for the Sao Paulo side. Their They weren't as efficient against Liga de Quito. Was it the altitude? Probably a big contributor. It's really hard for athletes to play really well at 9,000 feet if they're not used to it. But I think the tactics also have to contribute to their play as well. This is a Palmeiras side that does have some success in away matches. On paper, this is the most talented side in South American club football at the moment. Liga de Quito are living the dream. Their match was postponed versus IDV in Ecuador's Liga Pro. They're currently third in the championship group, 2 points behind Barcelona, de Guayaquil, 15 points behind Independiente del Valle, who's looking more and more likely to win the league. Liga have one suspension to deal with, and that's the Brian Ramirez. That leaves a big hole on the right-hand side for the Ecuadorian side to fill. In addition, they have 3 players who are in danger of missing the final if they receive a third yellow card in this second leg semifinal. Leonel Quinones, Richard Mina, and Carlos Guerreiro. They have some injured players as well. Gonzalo Valle, the goalkeeper, he's going to be out for the remainder of the year. Gian Ayala has an injury that is likely to keep him out of this second leg match. But for Liga de Quito, the objective is on loss minimization. They have that 3-goal advantage to work with. They feel confident about their chances of keeping Palmeiras honest. In their last match versus Brazilian team against a Brazilian team against Sao Paulo, they actually won in another section of Sao Paulo in the quarterfinal round. And all they need is 1 goal to effectively end this tie as a contest. 3-0 first leg defeats are very difficult to overcome, especially in the Copa Libertadores. They've only happened 5 times in the competition as of 2023. Palmeiras have the talent to overcome that 3-0 deficit. As I said, they're the most talented squad in South America. Is it likely? The statistics say otherwise, but the ball is round, as they say, and we're going to have to wait and see how that match develops in Sao Paulo. It's going to be another dramatic, emotional tie between 2 teams that are seeking to return to a Copa Libertadores final. And that wraps up this preview of the semifinal second legs of the Copa Libertadores. I want to remind you that you can stream every match of this tournament on Fanatiz and on Fubo Sports. If you prefer to listen to broadcasts in Spanish or Portuguese, many clubs and affiliated radio stations stream their broadcasts online or on YouTube. If you want to follow me and send a comment or question, my X handle is @Soccermetrics. You can also send questions or comments to @SoccerDownHere or to Jason Longshore at Longshoe. I'll be back on Thursday to put a bow around the semifinals and set the matchup for the 2025 Copa Libertadores final. This has been the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show, proudly part of the SDH network. See you later, hasta luego, and até mais.